starts from here. Turn your camera on in the class. Whenever it's a test, it's mandatory to turn the camera on. All right now? Yeah, better now. And you can answer in the chat box simply, okay? Yes, Ramesh, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Yes, I'm also good. Okay, yeah, Ibrahim, the first one is correct. By the way, right now we are doing some questions. Okay, now I thought, how about we do some questions from the previous classes also? We'll be continuing back with this with the chapter microorganism, but right now we're doing some questions as well. Okay, now.
Okay, sir.
Okay. By the way, Ramesh, I asked you in the previous class that if you'd be like to have some extra classes for the chapters, kindly let me know.
Yes, I'm fine with that, sir.
Okay, you require extra classes or not? That's my question. Do you need
Uh,
or no?
I think uh, for for microbes,
Microbes.
wait,
Okay, okay.
we started conservation of animals and plants in class for biology.
Because that has been started in the class. Okay,
Yeah,
1 minute. That is started. So, like in your school, the syllabus still has not been finished. The chapter are still going on.
yeah.
By now, the revision should have been going on.
Uh, our school doesn't follow the NCERT. From 6 to 8, we don't follow NCERT. From 9 to 12, we follow NCERT. So
Yeah, that I got to
yes,
know. Yeah, like your exam is on 4th of October, as you told me.
no, it's on 14th. Science exam is on 14th.
Okay, on 14th, you told me. Yeah,
No,
okay.
it's on 11th. 11th. Sorry, 11th.
11th, okay, okay.
11th. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, no issues. All right, by the way, complete these questions. You guys attempt these questions and then we're going to continue further. Okay, na?
Okay, sir.
I'll be providing the screenshot of this question in the chat box. From there, you can access it. Okay, na? Because Ibrahim has answered this already. Yes, your answers are correct, Ibrahim. That's good. Okay. You can look at the questions from the chat, um, Razim, Ramiz, I mean to say. Okay. I have sent it there. Okay. Ramiz, see if you can view it. Yeah, the first one is that is correct. Ibrahim, very good. Yeah, Ramesh, you were saying that conservation of plants and animals is going on, but my question was regarding the extra class. If you need it, I will have to schedule it. I will have to schedule it on time. Otherwise, it's okay.
Sir, if you can complete the lesson in class, that's fine with me. Or if you want to take extra class also, it's fine.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, then I will schedule it accordingly. I will plan it accordingly. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Ibrahim, are you having difficulty in the second question? The question is like, instead of using the chemicals, how we can control the pest growth? Instead of using the chemicals, how we can control the growth of pest? No, for the second one it's not correct, but for the third one it is correct. For the fourth one you have answered. Uh, yeah, that is correct. Yeah, that is correct. Okay, now. So means you also answer these questions. You're done with the
Uh,
previous slide.
yes, I finished the previous line.
Have you answered it?
Yeah, yeah.
I think you have answered it on the different ID. I think. I suppose
Uh,
on
s-
this one you have answered it.
sir, I should put it in the chat.
Yeah, you have to actually put it in the chat.
Okay, sir, then I'll do that.
Okay. See, Ibrahim, in the third, no, in the third question, the second question, that is a method of controlling pest using biological agents instead of chemicals. Usually, we use pesticides in order to control the growth of pest. Now, wheat, and for the first one, Ramesh, you have written. For this one, you have written. No, wheat is not a kharif crop. No, wheat is not a
Uh,
kharif crop.
okay,
It's
sir.
a rabi crop now. Rice,
All right.
also called as yeah, no issue. Paddy, it's a kharif crop. Getting it?
Okay.
What is the primary purpose of crop rotation? Primary purpose. Primary means main. The word primary
Uh,
means main. So the main, main, main. So main purpose of crop rotation is to increase the soil fertility. Okay, now.
okay, sir.
So when where we grow leguminous crops in alternation with non-leguminous crops, like you can grow the pea plant. So when you look at the pea plant, in the roots it has bulb-like structures called as root nodules. These are the root nodules, and inside this, which bacteria lives, Ibrahim? Which bacteria is found to be living in this root nodule?
Rhizobium.
Exactly, guys. Rhizobium, and it helps to fix the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil. So once you have grown a leguminous crop in the soil would be enriched with nitrogen. So in the next season, there's no need to provide nitrogenous fertilizer. Okay. Answer these questions also, Ramesh, quickly. So I was discussing question number 2 with you, Ibrahim, as there's an error in your answer. Meanwhile, Ramesh, you can continue to answer this. Okay. Normally we use pesticides, right, Ibrahim? But first of all, do tell me, do you understand like what is pest? Pest, the word pest, what does it refer to? Like a cockroach, like a rat or ant, mites, any kind of insects, right now? And the rodents, like particularly the rat, all of them are called as pest. Getting it, both of you? So we have to control the growth of this pest. So for that purpose, we rely upon the pesticides. But here it's talking about a natural alternative. So how about we use such insects that will be killing the pest, that will be killing the harmful insects? That's
Sir,
the principle. Yeah.
I have a doubt. For
Yeah.
the third question, for the fill in the blank, right?
Mhm.
Can we write any one of the two methods, or do we have to write both?
No, question is the process of preparing the soil for planting is known as. So that process, what do we know it by? What is
Plowing.
okay? So you're saying plowing, okay? But it's basically preparation of soil. The process of
Oh,
preparing the soil for planting is known as preparation of soil simply. Okay,
oh,
now
that's it.
if
Okay, sir.
yeah, if it were to be asking about the loosening of the soil, now how you'd be loosening the soil? So there you can say you could have describe about plowing. Okay. For question number 2, Ramiz, answer the question number 2. Do tell me what you're going to write in this.
Uh, is it crop rotation? also?
No,
Or no?
it's basically called as biological control.
Okay.
Getting it, both of you? Ibrahim, now you're getting it?
Yes, sir.
The method is biological control. So in this basically biological control, what we use now, we'll be using the taking help of natural predators of the given pest. Okay, now natural predators. You understand what is a predator now? Predator is an organism that would be eating the another organism, right? Predator eats their prey. Okay, so we can depend upon some. We will be using some bacteria or some viruses will be used, or we can use a neem oil can be used. For example, it's a natural product. Neem oil will be preventing the growth of certain fungus, certain insects. Okay, na? So that can be done. Okay, na? I'm going to switch the slide. Ramesh, you done?
Yes, I'm typing the answer in the chat box.
Okay, okay. Ibrahim, turn your camera on and continue from here. So which of the following micros? Okay, you have answered it. Organic harvesting, magic control. For the first one, you have answered no. See, there's a problem in the answer of the first one actually, Ramesh. See, the primary source of nutrient. It is asking about the source of nutrient, not the nutrient, not an example of nutrient. Source of nutrient, is it water? I mean to say, is it air? Is it soil? What is the source? So the primary source of nutrient is soil now.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay, no, that is the
Yeah.
case. Others are correct, like for both of you. Well done. By the way, you guys tell me how many nutrients are required by the plants? How many nutrients are required by the plant to work properly, to function properly?
Is it three?
No, not only three. There are about 16 essential nutrients that are required by the plants. Okay, now
Okay.
some of them are required in large amount. Some of them are required in a small amount. Okay, now like for example, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, or carbon or hydrogen, uh, they are required in major quantities. Okay, now that's why like many times you would have heard of the NPK fertilizers, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium.
Sir, I sent you the answer in the chat box.
Yeah, for the first one, that is correct. Well done. All three answers are correct. Since Ibrahim is not here right now, you can answer in the class only. Okay, no? Like a
Okay,
student
sir.
is supposed to be answering in the chat box if there are multiple students in the class. But if you are
Okay,
alone,
sir.
then you can answer. Yeah.
Sir, the first one is false.
Very good.
Sir, the first one is second one is oh,
Continue in the chat box.
okay, sir.
Yes, Ibrahim, continue from here. Yeah, that is correct. The first answer is correct. Both of you. Your answers are correct for the first one. The second one is good. The third one you answered. Okay. Two. You're well done. Okay, no. So all bacteria are harmful to humans. That is false. Fungi can be both beneficial and harmful. Like we have some fungi, like yeast is beneficial in the it does the fermentation. So in the manufacturing of wine, alcohol, in bread industry, it is used. Baking industry, it is used. Virus can reproduce independently without a host cell. That is false. Okay, no, because it will be using the metabolism of another host cell to multiply to reproduce. Vaccination is a method used to prevent viral infection. That is true. And the last one, microorganism. Yes, they do play a role in decomposition. So that is true. Okay. So which of the following process is used to separate crude oil into its components? What do you guys think? This option starts from here. By the way, wherever you see this word ethanol, so it should be understood that ethanol is being used for the word alcohol. It is used for alcohol. Okay, now both are same thing here. By the way, these are the questions on the chapter coal and petroleum. Okay.
We didn't take coal and petroleum in the class yet.
Yeah, it hasn't been done yet, but in the bash, like before, it was done. Okay, no,
Uh,
and it is there. It is not there for you, but for Ibrahim, it is there. So, like, I have taken questions for everyone. Okay.
so do I do these questions?
If you know, you can answer it. Okay.
Uh,
Otherwise, it's okay.
okay, sir.
Okay, no? So you can answer one question to me. Okay, now let's do one thing since we are exam oriented right now. So do tell me the metallic oxides. You would have learned about this in the school. You might have learned about metallic oxides, right? Have you or not?
Uh, yeah,
When
a
metal would
few.
be reacting with oxygen, a metallic oxide is formed. Like magnesium reacting with oxygen to form magnesium oxide. Ravi is getting it what I'm trying to say. Like
Yes, sir.
magnesium reacts with oxygen to give you a magnesium oxide. I'm asking you, what is the nature of this? Is it acidic or is it basic in nature?
So is it basic in nature?
Yeah, it is basic in nature. What can you say about the non-metallic oxide?
That's acidic.
Of course, it is acidic. And can you give an example?
Non-metal.
Non-metallic oxide. Like just give an example of a non-metal.
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen is a non-metal. Hydrogen, yeah, it is a non-metal. And
Is it hydrogen peroxide or
hydrogen peroxide. The hydrogen peroxide is also like an oxide of hydrogen. Okay. What about sulfur?
sulfur oxide?
Sulfur is a
Uh,
non-metal, and sulfur dioxide will also be. Sulfur dioxide is a non-metallic oxide, and it is acidic in nature. Okay, na?
okay, sir.
Getting it?
And is
Ibrahim,
sir, is carbon dioxide also acidic in nature?
yeah, of course, carbon dioxide is acidic in nature because carbon is a non-metal. So
Okay, sir.
oxide of this non-metal is going to be acidic.
Okay, sir.
Ibrahim, you haven't answered it. Answer it quickly. Okay, I'm going to put the screenshot in the chat box. Okay, no, because we have to do the chapter as well. Okay, again, I'm going to put the screenshot of this one also. Okay, in the chat box, and from there you can continue. Okay, just 1 minute. There's an error in this question. There was a typing error. Okay, no, there was a option that is not true here, so you might be getting confused. We'll be taking up that same question in the other class. This question, both of you will be doing this. Okay, no. And Ibrahim, if you wish, you can leave this question. Like you don't have this chapter in the syllabus, force and pressure and friction. Ibrahim, confirm that. you only have crop production, microorganism, coal and petroleum and combustion. So you don't do this one, but Ramiz, you do this one, okay now? So it is only
Okay,
for you.
okay, sir.
By the way, what is the unit of pressure? Yes, Ramiz.
Pascal,
That is Pascal, okay. And that of force is
Newton.
Newton. Good. Ibrahim, you there in the class? You haven't answered the previous questions. See, these questions are aimed to improve your efficiency in the exam. I think you are still doing it. I have put the screenshot in the chat box, by the way.
Sir, I'm having some internet.
Oh, okay, okay. I understand. No issue. Ramesh, you done with the first question? The numerical
Yes,
problem?
I'm sending them together.
Okay, okay, no issue. By the way, do one thing for the short answer question since typing will take too much of time. So you can just upload the picture from in the chat box. You can upload the picture.
Sir, I'm almost on type.
Okay, okay, okay. Then no issue. Continue.
Done.
Done? Very good. Let me see what answer you have written here. No, for the first one, there's a issue in that one. See, in the numerical problem, formula is given here. Pressure equals to force upon area. How much force is given here? It's 200 Newton. And area is 0.5 square meter. Okay. Pay attention here, Ramesh. Now you have to remove this decimal. So in the numerator, you will be multiplying the numerator value with 10, right? 5 twos are 10, 2 times
Sir, I
200,
made a
that is,
mistake. It's 40 and or
it's 400 Newton.
400. 400. Okay.
400, I mean to say Pascal actually. 400 Pascal. So that's the pressure. Getting it now? So for friction, you have written
Okay, sir.
friction is a force that resists movement. Factors that affect friction are area of contact, smoothness of the surface. Plus, you could have answered some other factors that influence friction is the applied force on the object. Okay, now, apart from area of contact and the smoothness or the basically texture of the surface, the amount of force also impacts the friction. Like for example, you have a wooden block here, and let's say you are applying a force of 10 Newton on this. So at that time, the friction will also be 10 Newton. But if you were to increase it to 20 Newton, let's say the object still is not moving. Why? Because at still it is applying a force of 20 Newton. Getting it now? So when you
Okay, sir.
increase the force, friction increases. Okay. So you have written the types like fluid friction, static friction, rotationless in the water. This is a friction that happens in the air. Friction in the air, static friction. Okay, see, there are 4 types of frictions. Okay, now you have the static friction in which the body is not moving. The static friction is the friction which will be resisting the movement. It will not be moving at all. Okay. Then we have the sliding friction. So sliding friction occurs when the object is sliding. When the two surfaces of objects would be sliding over one another, then sliding friction occurs. After this, you have the rolling friction. Okay, now for example, the vehicles of the car, or when you roll a ball on the ground, so thereby a rolling friction occurs there. Then you have the fourth type of friction, that is fluid friction. Fluid friction that occurs in the air and in the water. So these are the different types of friction.
Okay, sir.
Got this, no? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ibrahim, you done with the questions or not? I haven't got your answers. Still, you haven't shared it. Share it.
Sir, he's not in the meeting.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh, he said that he's having some network issue. Anyways, I'll be providing the PPT to you guys. Okay, I will be sending the PDF to you guys. Okay.
Okay, sir.
By the way, let's try to finish this chapter today. Okay, now, because we have so many things left to be done. Normally, like for this is a long chapter. Usually, I take about 6 to 7 to 8 classes to complete this chapter. Okay, but since the exams are near, so we are going to complete it quickly. Okay. So we were learning about the useful microorganisms, right? And also we'd be learning about how they harm us right now. So what we know that microorganisms are used for various purposes. Some of them are used in the production of curd, in the bread, and in the cake. Some have been used for production of alcohol since ages. Some of them being used for production of alcohol. Some of them are used in cleaning up of the environments as decomposers. Right now, that like they will be decomposing the organic waste into harmless usable substances by the bacteria. In the field of agriculture also, microorganisms are used to increase the fertility by fixing the nitrogen. Then we have commercial use of microorganisms also, like for large scale production of alcohol or like wine or acetic acid. Microorganisms, particularly yeast, is used. Getting it now? For commercial production of these things, yeast will be used. We have medicinal use of microorganisms also. Right now, like whenever we fall ill, the doctor may prescribe us some antibiotics, some tablets, some capsules, or some injections like penicillin, which are made up of microorganisms. Right now, and these days the medicines that are produced from bacteria and fungi, they will be killing or stopping the growth of disease causing microorganisms. Such medicines are called as antibiotics, as we have learned right now. You would have heard of some of the common antibiotics, I suppose, like streptomycin or erythromycin, right, Ramiz? So these are some of the
Yeah.
might not have or might have. So these are some of the common antibiotics or common medicines that are made from fungi and bacteria. Okay, now further, the antibiotics are made by growing specific microorganisms and they are used to cure a variety of disease. Okay, now and antibiotics should only be taken on the advice of a qualified doctor. Okay. By the way, from antibiotic, I got to know that I was going through your assignment, and there I observed that in one of the question, just give me a minute. Okay, I just have to take one sheet here. I'm to say I would like to share your assignment with you. See, is my screen is still not visible?
Not visible, sir.
Hmm. See, in question number 5. Okay, now. So you have written bacteria, especially weak ones, are used in making antibiotics that help our bodies fight off antibodies. Okay, so there's a problem in this answer. Okay, now the question is like some half of the question is correct. Okay, now but the bacteria are not going to fight off the antibodies. Getting it now?
Sir.
Like we know about the vaccines, how the vaccines work. When a disease causing microbe will be entering your body, the antibodies are produced by your body to fight with that invader, right? So when vaccine is given to you, so vaccines are how the vaccines are made. Vaccines contains dead or weak versions of bacteria or viruses. Now getting it? The vaccines contain dead or weakened versions of bacteria or viruses. Okay, like for example, COVID-19 vaccine. COVID-19 vaccine, what does it contain? It will contain a dead or a weak version. Okay. Especially, or also there's a problem in the construction, like you have written, especially weak ones. It's not like one group of the COVID-19 is weak. There's another group that is a strong. It's not like that. Basically, we would be weakening it. We will be on purpose. We are going to weaken it. Getting it? What I'm trying to say? So we'd be taking the weakened versions of bacteria, weakened versions. So weakened versions, when I say such a word, that weakened versions, it means that in a laboratory we are weakening them. Okay, now that is one thing. Plus, or it could be viruses, it could be bacteria both. So when it is administered, when it is given to the body, so the body will be producing some antibodies. So antibodies are produced by our body to fight with that invader. So if in the future, if that actual microbe enters the body again, the body will be remembering how to fight with the microbe. Okay, na? So that is the case that a dead or weakened version of a bacteria or virus is given to a healthy body. The body is first of all going to fight it, and it will be killing that by producing some suitable antibodies. And those antibodies remains in the body for protecting us from that disease causing microbe. So that is the way how vaccines work. But antibiotics does not work in the same manner. Getting it now? Antibiotics are kind of different thing. Ibrahim is here. Okay, no? So you'll be talking about antibodies when you'll be describing about the functioning of the vaccine. Getting my point now? What I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
That's the case. Yeah, so I was giving you an overview of what are the things. Yes, Ibrahim, you there? Suppose you're having some network issue. So there are some medicinal use of microorganisms as well. Okay, now. So like we have antibiotics, you have vaccines. About vaccine, I was explaining moments ago. Further, to increase the soil fertility, also some bacteria and blue-green algae will be used to increase fertility of the soil. Okay, now. And those microorganisms are commonly called as biological nitrogen fixers. Okay, now that is the case. Okay. So we did learn about bacteria in the previous class. What is the good part of this? How it will be used? We did discuss about this. We learned about the fungi and we learned about the use of the uh, yeast here, how it basically helps us. We did learn about fermentation as well. And in fermentation, basically in anaerobic conditions, sugar will be converted into carbon dioxide and alcohol. Okay, now that's the process of fermentation. Read the paragraph here. Ramesh, read this.
Fermentation is a process in which microbes help to break down the sugar molecules of food into simpler substances like alcohol and carbon dioxide in the absence of oxygen.
So that's what is happening here. Fermentation is being done by this yeast. In fact, fermentation is not only done by this yeast. Okay, now keep this in mind. It will be done by some bacteria as well. Getting it now? So we can't limit it only to the yeast. It is done by some bacteria as well. So in anaerobic conditions, in the absence of oxygen, Ibrahim, what is happening? Sugar is being converted into simpler substances like carbon dioxide and alcohol. So sugar is a complex substance. Getting it? A complex substance. While alcohol and carbon dioxide, these are the simpler substances into which it is converted. That is the case. Then we have a use of we have antibiotics. So what we know about antibiotics, that antibiotics are the medicines that can either kill or either can stop the growth of disease causing microorganisms. For example, penicillin. Who discovered the penicillin?
Alexander Fleming.
In the year 1929. Getting it now? Okay. We are still right now we are learning about fungi. Keep that in mind. Getting it now? Because penicillin is made obtained it was extracted from penicillium. The fungus from which it was extracted was penicillium. Okay. So some of the fungi are used to make antibiotics also, and the world's first antibiotic was the penicillin. So antibiotics are used to cure a variety of disease. Some of the common antibiotics, moments ago, as I was saying, you have a streptomycin, erythromycin, and tetracycline. These are some of the common antibiotics that are made using bacteria and fungi. Will you be using the strong version, or will you be preferring to use the weak versions of bacteria and fungi here?
The weak questions.
Weak versions, right now. And antibiotics, they will be effective to cure disease that are caused by bacteria and fungi also only. If someone is suffering from a viral fever, so antibiotics are not going to be very effective. Getting my point? So they are going to cure microbial infections in the animals. Okay. So how the animals will be treated, how they are administered with the antibiotic, how antibiotic is given to them, simply will be mixing the medicine with their feed. Okay, no? Furthermore, antibiotics can control severe plant diseases also. So if there are some plant diseases that is being caused by bacteria and fungi, that too can be controlled. Then the question is, what are the precautions one should take place while you would be taking antibiotics? So two things is required. One thing, you should consult a doctor. Another thing is that the right amount of dosage at right interval of time is important. So you should take antibiotics only on the advice of a doctor, and one must complete the course the doctor prescribes. If doctor tells you to take the antibiotics, two antibiotics daily for 4 or 5 days, you have to complete it accordingly. Okay, now. So if it is taken in wrong doses, it may make the body resistant to the drug and it may not be effective in the future. Okay, now. So that is the thing here. Suppose the doctor told you to take 10 antibiotics, but you only took 2 or 3. So it is not going to be effective, right? Or suppose the doctor told you to take it at a time gap of 10 hours, but at every 3 or 4 hours you are taking it. So the body is not going to work properly then. Okay, na? So moreover, what is going to happen if we are not taking it in the right dosage and not taking it properly? It may also kill the beneficial bacteria in the body. Okay. Important thing to be noted: it cannot cure common cold and flu, which is caused by the virus. Why it cannot be taken to cure flu or influenza? Yes,
Those are all viral infections, where antibiotics are for bacterial infections.
exactly. Okay, na? Then we have vaccines. So vaccines. Who discovered the vaccine for the first time? It was, yes, Ibrahim, Ramiz.
Edward Jenner.
Hmm. Okay, now. So Edward Jenner for the first time discovered the vaccine for smallpox in the year 1798. Okay. Now you guys might have heard of the polio program, the Pulse polio program that is run by the government of India in order to eradicate polio. The child that are below the age of 5 will be given the polio drops under this initiative of the government. Okay, now. So polio is caused by the polio virus. Okay, now this was a popular Pulse polio program was a very popular vaccination program that is run by the Indian government. Okay, now you might have seen people that suffer from polio. They will be having some deformity in their body. The limbs might be abnormal. Getting it? So that is the case. So polio it is a viral disease and it can cause paralysis to the semi part of the body or to the whole part of the body. The whole part or the semi part of the body can be paralyzed. In some case, it can lead to death also. Okay, na? Eh, that is the case. Okay. Some of the disease that can be prevented by vaccinations are as follows. Okay, no? Like hepatitis, cholera, smallpox, tuberculosis. Getting it, guys? So that's the case. Then the question is, what is a disease? Like we have been learning about it a while. So diseases are the abnormalities in our body that causes us discomfort. Either some of the organ might not be functioning properly or might be failing to do its work. So thereby it needs to be diagnosed based on the symptoms that the body will be showing. Okay, now the symptoms that the body is going to exhibit, on that basis we are going to get our diagnosis, right? For example, um let's say for example, the skin turns pale yellow. The skin turns pale yellow. So in which disease the skin turns pale yellow? Think about this. If a person is suffering from jaundice, you guys have heard of this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if a person is suffering from jaundice, so what is the symptom for this? We see that the color of the eye, color of the skin will be turning yellow. Getting it now? So basically, why it happens? The reason is not very important, but let me tell you that when too much of old red blood cells would be building up in the body now, because of that, this jaundice is formed. Jaundice happens. Okay. So based on the symptom, diagnosis will be done. So symptoms will be helping us in accurate diagnosis of the disease under the careful supervision of an experienced physician. That is the case. Okay. Further, the disease that we see can be categorized into namely 5 categories. Okay, now the disease that are caused by the bacteria. Okay, now just one moment here. Actually, in the vaccine, there is some error in the typing here. Okay, now that needs to be corrected. Some of the disease that can be prevented by vaccination. So it's not cholera. Cholera is not caused by a virus. Yeah, cholera is caused by a bacteria, as we know, right, Ramesh and Ibrahim? Getting it? Like we
Yes,
have a
sir.
bacteria by the name of Vibrio cholerae. So that needs to be corrected. Okay, now the smallpox is also smallpox is called by virus, so that is correct. Okay, now then we have tuberculosis. So tuberculosis is caused by a bacteria by the name of, what's the name of the bacteria that causes tuberculosis? Remember, it starts with M. Anyone? Mycobacterium tuberculosis now. So that one also needs to be cut here. Okay, no? Others are correct. The smallpox is caused by virus. Okay. Now, based on the micro, based on the I mean to say the disease that the humans suffer from, it could be either caused due to bacteria or virus, or could be fungal disease, could be a disease caused by protozoa, or could be a disease caused by the worms. So on this basis, we have the following categorization: dysentery, plague, diphtheria, cholera, typhoid, pneumonia. All of these are caused by the bacteria. Common cold, mumps, measles, viral hepatitis, dengue fever, chikungunya, chickenpox, and poliomyelitis. All these are caused by the virus. Fungal disease are like athlete's foot. Remember the athlete's foot? When the
Yes, sir.
ringworm would be infecting the foot of the athlete, then it is called as athlete's foot. Or candidiasis was also one such fungal disease, but the important one is this, which we have learned. Okay. Malaria, amoebiasis, African sleeping sickness. Remember, we learned about this. And Kala Azar. All these are caused by the protozoa. Okay, now Kala Azar in particular is important. Kala Azar is a disease. Okay, now like it became a major health problem in so many countries, so many places. In fact, in India as well. So Kala Azar, it's a disease in which basically what will be happening. By the name, I think you can understand from this, like why it is being called as Kala Azar. Can you guess something from this?
Sir,
Kala
I'm not sure.
Azar, not
Kala
sure.
means black, right? But I'm
Yeah.
not sure what Azar means.
Okay. See, basically in the Kala Azar, what will be happening? Like we'll see that there will be black patches on the skin. Okay, now the color will be turning blackish to gray to grayish. Okay, now wherever the infection will be present, that part of the skin will be turning grayish or blackish in color. Getting it now? That's why this is the way this is the name of this disease. Okay, now
Okay, sir.
so it is a disease caused by a protozoa. Okay, and it will be transmitted by the bite of a sand fly. Okay, now how is colors are transmitted? So it is transmitted by bite of sandfly. A bite of sandfly. Do you understand about a sandfly? You know the sandfly? Yes, it's an insect like would be looking similar to that of a mosquito, but a little bit different from it. Basically, it will be found living in the sandy areas. In the deserts, the sandfly will be most common. Getting it now?
Yes, sir.
So that is the case. Okay. Then you have ascariasis and filariasis. These are the disease caused by the worms. You know, there are worms that are living in the intestines, that lives in the intestines, particularly tapeworm or the roundworm or the hookworm. They can be found to be living in the intestines. Getting it? Particularly tapeworm. Tapeworm, it can found to be living in the walls of the intestines, and it will be feeding on whatever nutrient we will be eating. Whatever food we are going to eat now, when that food is going to the intestine, so the flat form that will be living there, it will be deriving nutrition from it. Right now, then you have roundworm also. Many times people will be complaining of abdominal pain or diarrhea, and particularly kids. It is observed in the kids now that in the stool the worms could be present in this, even in the stool. Getting it, Ramesh? What I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir.
So those are also the disease, and those disease can give a abdominal pain or diarrhea. But nonetheless, these four categories are much more important. But the third one, you should also know about this. Okay. Furthermore, on the basis of contraction or how contagious, like the way how the disease will be passed on from one person to another. So we have two categories. One which is communicable. So disease like malaria, human immunovirus like this HIV virus or chickenpox, these are transmissible, communicable. It can communicate. It can be transmitted from a infected person to a healthy person, right? And there are some diseases that are non-communicable, like cardiovascular disease or cancer or chronic respiratory disease or diabetes. Okay, they are non-communicable disease. Getting it? What I'm trying to say. So that is the base. Can you list some more examples of communicable disease apart
Common
from the
flu.
one? Repeat again.
Common flu.
Common flu. Okay, yeah.
Then COVID-19.
COVID-19, good. You have malaria, HIV, chicken pox apart from this, as you have the COVID-19. You know about Ebola? Have you heard of Ebola?
Yeah.
It's also communicable disease, and it was very prominent in Africa. Okay, lakhs of people died of Ebola in Africa. Common cold, as you said, Ibrahim was here. Okay, then we have some other examples like measles. You know about measles? It's a skin disease. So in
Sir,
coming in contact, yeah,
is monkeypox also communicable?
yeah, exactly. Monkeypox, right now. Monkeypox, like recently we are getting to know about this, but in the first time in the year 1970, the first country was Republic of Congo. Democratic Republic of Congo. It's a country in Africa. So the first human case of monkeypox was reported in the year 1970. Getting it, Ramiz and Ibrahim.
Yes, sir.
So the first human case of monkeypox was reported in the year 1970 in the country by the name of Democratic Republic of Congo. It's a very small country in Africa. I think it's near Sudan, or I think it's near Sudan, I think. So these are
Sir,
the communicable. Yes,
is AIDS also communicable?
AIDS. Yeah, AIDS is also communicable if the person comes in the physical contact, okay, no? Or if the blood is somehow transmitted. If a person is suffering from AIDS, and let's say if the person is suffering from AIDS, and if he were to use a shaving blade, and let's say he had a cut, and there were some blood drops on the shaving blade. So if another person were to use that shaving blade, and he also had a cut, and somehow the blood got mixed into his blood, then in that manner the other person can also suffer from AIDS. Getting the way how it can transmit, how it
Yes,
can
sir.
transmit via the sexual intercourse. That is the case. But on the other hand, these diseases are non-communicable disease. Hope it should be clear. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Apart from the given examples, can you guys think of some other examples of non-communicable disease? Yes. Like if someone has
Cancer.
some, repeat again.
Cancer.
Yeah, cancer. It is there, by the way. Cancer, heart disease, chronic respiratory disease, diabetes.
There
Yes.
is Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer. Alzheimer's is also a non-communicable. Yeah, I think it is also non-communicable. Correct. It is a non-communicable disease. It's a neurological disease related to nerve. Okay, no? And if someone has some mental disease, basically, so it cannot be transmitted anyways. Okay, no? So that is the case. Okay. Further, when we look at how the disease will be transmitted, talking about the communicable disease. So say that the, for example, this is a animal waste. Okay, so if the house fly, the Musca domestica, that is the house fly, if it sits on this and sits on the food also that we're going to consume, so obviously whatever pathogens, whatever disease causing bacteria were on this waste, now it will stick to the body of the insect, and it will, once the insect will be sitting on the food, the pathogens will be transferred to the food, and when we'll be eating it, our food is contaminated, and when we eat this contaminated food, the pathogen will go into our body and will make us sick. That's why they say that you should avoid eating the food that is being sold in the street. Okay, no? That is one thing. Further, we have the case of the malaria. We know how the malaria spreads. It is spreads by the male or the female anopheles.
Email.
Female. So you guys have observed, like usually the female anopheles would be infective. Then how come the male mosquitoes survive? How do they survive?
By taking pollen or
By the nectar of the flower.
yeah.
Male mosquitoes do not suck blood. Okay, no? So they do not suck blood, but they would be feeding upon other things, like they would be feeding upon the nectar of the flower, right now, like that.
Okay,
Also
sir.
the structure of their body is kind of different, like they cannot puncture into the skin of the organisms. That's why, like, their proboscis is not very strong. The pipe like a structure that comes out of their mind, no, that is that out of their mouth, I mean to say, that is proboscis, that is not very strong in that case. Yeah. Talking about the malaria, what we're seeing, that if there's a female mosquito that bites this person, and the blood of the female mosquito contains the this
Malaria.
plasmodium, right
Okay.
now. So the plasmodium will be transferred to the person of the body, and the target organ would be basically liver. Okay, na? And from there now it is going to transmit to different part of the body. So that's how malaria transmits. Okay, na? We have some more examples of this non-communicable disease. The four main types were the cardiovascular disease, cancer, chronic respiratory disease, diabetes. Other examples are this, like obesity, metabolic syndrome, uh, like osteopenia if someone is suffering from some bone problem, depression, uh, neurodegenerative disease, or hypertension, like these. So these are the non-communicable disease. Okay, now then we have the cholera also. Okay, which is caused by a bacteria, and we'll be learning about how it transmits from one person to another. And is it an airborne disease or is it a waterborne disease? How it transmits?
Well,
So
okay.
all this in the next class. That's it for today. All right, now.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, you're welcome.